What's up and welcome to episode 1 of Light Bars and Lockers, the show where we talk about basically everything Jeep. You have a question? Feel free to leave a comment below or email us at email us at podcast@JeepBeef.com. We'll get back to you. We'll maybe add your question to an upcoming episode. My name's Paul, one of the co-hosts here, and my job is community manager at JeepBeef. Meaning that as we build this online community together, I get to work with fine folks like you. Joining us today, two of the biggest experts in the off-road industry. We've got Ryan Stoangi, CEO of Combat Off-Road and Off-Road Addiction. Combat, if you're not familiar with them, they build some really quality products for your Jeep, and they cover everything from fuel doors to fender flares to low center of gravity lifts and pretty much everything in between. A lot of the products are great because for people like me, I can just order them up, get them to my house, throw them in, and then I can feel like I'm actually wrenching on my Jeep and making it my own. On the other side, we've got Tim Rogers from TMR Customs, and TMR basically fabricate some of the best parts in the off-road industry. I mean, seriously, have you seen King of Hammers, any sort of off-road racing, or any sort of quality giant builds? In most cases, they're going to have some products from from TMR Customs. They just simply make quality products. This show, we're going to answer questions from real people, just like you. So if you have a question, let us know. And yeah, hopefully entertain a little bit, pass some knowledge. If you're interested in staying up to date with upcoming shows, smash the like button, hit subscribe, join us on JeepBeef.com, sign up for the newsletter. We'll let you know whenever a new show comes out. And for now, let's get into it. Show number 1, I promise it's going to get better as we go. I think we're all a little bit new to this, but that's it. Here we are, episode 1. Let's get into it. Rock on. Go. All right, so welcome everyone to Light Bars and Lockers, the show where we talk about everything Jeeps, off-roading, mods, and pretty much whatever the hell we want to talk about that has to do with Jeeping. I'm Paul, your host, and today we are joined by two amazing co-hosts. We have a Ryan Stoangi, CEO of Combat Off-Road, and Tim Rogers, president of TMR Customs. Today marks episode 1, so let's get into it. So first thing for today, we're going to do a quick introduction of our two co-hosts, starting with Ryan Stoangi, CEO of Combat Off-Road. Ryan, tell us a little bit about Combat, yourself, and your experience as an off-road enthusiast.
All right, so Combat Off-Road, just we developed it out of just necessity for us too, where we want to develop some products that we liked, and somewhere we could touch everybody, so it didn't have to be hyper specific. Like anyone can use a variety of our products. We basically do focus on the JK, JL platforms. They're the most popular right now. And I just always wanted to make stuff. I started out in the retail environment and installation environment, which we still have. This would be our 16th year going. So yeah, that's what I want to do, man. I want to travel and beat up stuff and test products and kind of like what Tim does, except our products are a little more mainstream that way. He's got a pretty good catalog of builder parts. So we're a lot of our stuff is bolt on, put on, anyone can do it in the driveway. And we do have a whole bunch of other stuff. We're in development. So we're pretty new on that aspect. But, minus the COVID stuff, we're on track to do some other things and release products. But it's just a little delayed. But, we're going to be around for a while and keep pushing, and hopefully we'll see everybody at some different events. And like I said, we're here on the show to help and answer some questions, and really that's kind of what we're doing, just having some fun, right? Trying to have fun, build stuff, and enjoy ourselves.
Amazing. Okay, good stuff. And so question, I know that you have a number of vendors across the U.S. Outside of JeepBeef.com, of course. Where's the best place for people to check out everything that Combat has to offer?
Well, on the JeepBeef.com site, like you mentioned, but we have our Combat4x4.com as our factory site. We do have sales off there, but we just run a regular price platform there, and then we're here to help all our vendors too, right? So Vivid Racing is a big one for us. Jeep World's a big one for us. There's really there's a couple hundred like online sites, and then we're just starting some Gold Rush Jeep, and down in Georgia's got some stuff in the store, and we got Espinino Brothers in Southwest Texas. They got some stuff on the show on the storefront there. There's quite a few. I'd probably have to really like pop a list out and see what's going on.
Okay, we'll just say JeepBeef.com then.
Yeah, just use that one. That's easy. Easy to spell too, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, amazing. Okay, and you know what? Seeing as we're on the topic, let's talk about your daily driver real quick. Is it a Jeep? Is it an off-road vehicle? As far as I mean, I understand you have a Corvette, but as far as the off-road side of things,
yeah, I kind of just jump in a bunch of different stuff. But right now, I'm pretty much driving a 2018 Rubicon JL. And then we had on 37s for last season with our 2.5-inch low center of gravity lift in it. And then now we created an aluminum long arm kit for it right now. It's kind of on the hoist. We've been picking away at it because we did have a show scheduled to go, and then it got kiboshed. So we kind of took the wind out of our sails for a bit, and we're just getting back on it. So we're going to run that with 41.5s because I wanted 40s, but no one had the 40s I wanted. So we went a little bigger. So that'll be the machine we'll drive around. And I'm sure my wife will steal it because she's good at that. And then she'll break it because she's good at that. So it should be pretty funny. That'll be the one. And we got another JK on 40s. And then we have another JK on 40s. And then we got a TJ on 37. So we got a bunch of Jeep machines, and we got a bunch of diesel pickups and stuff. But yeah, as soon as the weather turns nice, I'll take the roof and doors off the toaster and drive it around for sure.
All right, amazing. Yeah, for sure. And we'll follow the JL as you get it up on the 41s, and we'll be sure to check back in. So awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Okay, so second co-host, we have Tim Rogers, who is the president of TMR Customs. And if you have seen basically any Jeeps anywhere, you've likely seen TMR Customs logo on it, because it seems like every time I'm on Instagram, every time I turn on the TV, watch King of Hammers, what have you, there's the TMR logos on one of the rigs out there. So Tim, really appreciate you joining us. Maybe give us a 20,000 foot view of TMR Customs for the few people watching this that haven't heard of of who it is that you are and what it is that you do.
For sure. So my brother Mike and my name's Tim. We co-founded TMR Customs in 2008. So I guess 2020 would be our 12th year business. We design and manufacture our line of parts for Jeeps and off-road specific applications. So we don't make parts for pickup trucks. We don't make car accessories. We're strictly off-road parts. With that said, the bulk of our business is builder parts. So for DIY customers who like to cut, grind, weld, and fabricate. And we got an extensive line of Jeep stuff as well. So Jeep bumpers, Jeep skid plates, door bushings, which you mentioned earlier, are a big one for us, and just some general armor for your Jeep. A lot of what we do is customers who really want to customize their vehicle for off-road only purposes. So you might have had a Jeep for 5 years, 10 years. Hopefully the payments are long behind you, and maybe you want to make it just strictly a toy for off-road use. So we want to throw some one-ton axles under it. You might want to throw a bigger motor in it. That's where we can really help you out with those hard parts to take your Jeep to that extreme off-road purpose application.
Amazing. Okay, good stuff. And same question. I know for sure you've got Super Jeep and you've got your TJ. Maybe tell us a little bit about a couple of those toys that you have kicking around.
Yeah, for sure. So being that we're in the Rust Belt, I park most of my stuff for the winter because I don't want it degrading and not being around.
Yeah.
So daily when the weather's crap, I drive 2015 Rubicon JK on 37s. And then when the weather's good and some summer toys can come out, I've got a LS3 swap JK on 1 tons and 42s. I've got our TJ build as well on 40s. TJ's actually pretty cool. It's a 2000, and I've had it since new. It was actually the first Jeep I bought. It was our first shop build at TMR Customs. It developed a ton of the products that we still sell to this date. And I don't use it a ton because we've often got other stuff on development, like these newer Jeep build or our racing program manufacture Jeep chassis kits. So I get some customers ask me, like, would you ever sell that Jeep or whatever? And if I didn't own it from new, no. But I'm like, because I've owned it, I'm like, I want to keep that thing. And I tell my kids, I'm like, just bury me in that. I'm like, put me in that. Give me the dirt nap in that thing. So it'll be around forever. It's currently just chilling in our showroom until, like Ryan said, the weather's good and we can get the tops off and get some projects out and have some fun out there.
All right, cool. That's awesome. And so I actually have two questions for you. One, so you run in 37s on your Rubicon, but no lift, right?
Yeah. So it's just a street banger. By no means would you want off road in this machine, but it's 37-inch Nitto trail grapplers, and clearance wise, it's got fender flares from MCE. They do like a flat fender that gives you some additional clearance, and then we're running TMR Customs control arms, adjustable obviously, so we can get the wheels centered within the wheel well, because even from factory they're not. So we could center them up, and that gave it the clearances we need. And for rip around town, yeah, it's a fun machine.
It
And
looks
yeah,
awesome.
it's yeah, I get customers that are like, "Oh, do you off-road that?" I'm like, no. That's literally that gets, when COVID ain't around, that gets the kids to school, it gets me to work and back. But no, you would not off-road that thing.
Yeah,
You'd obviously
awesome.
want some.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it looks sick. I remember seeing it for the first time and just thinking like, how did you get 37s underneath that thing? You know, without the lift, and it looks sick. It looks great. So yeah, very cool. And then the second question was LS. Did you consider a Hemi, or did you always just want to go with the LS?
No, for us, LS was a no-brainer. I'm not knocking the Hemi stuff. I just don't have experience with it. In our race chassis and race platforms, we're all LS based. So like the first tube chassis we built was like a 6-liter LQ9, and then the next one we built was just a crate LS3. So when it came to doing the swap in the JK, I just wanted the same thing. I know those motors last in terms of reliability. Power-wise, they're awesome and they're a ton of fun to drive. And there was great aftermarket support for putting that kit into a Jeep. We basically bought a kit from Motec. They're located in Las Vegas, and it was just a swap kit. So it was straightforward. Obviously, you can do the same with the Hemi, and I'm not knocking it, but because of our experience with the LS, we're huge fans of that platform. That's why we went that road.
Cool. Glad you're here with us. I know that between the two of you, we've got an absolute wealth of knowledge, and we're going to be able to help a lot of people get their questions answered. Perfect. Okay, good. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Okay, so the next one, we'll just quickly do the product of the week, and then I think we're pretty much, we can wrap her up for this time. I think it's good. So, okay, so each week we're going to cover a different product, do our best to find something that's incredibly useful and in most cases affordable for any off-road enthusiast. Something that the average Jeeper can grab and throw onto their Jeep. And ideally it'll be something that's perhaps new to the market or something that's almost like a staple. Being our first week, we're going to start with the TMR Customs Delrin door hinge liners, which is a mouthful to say, I know. But I'm going to pass it over to Tim here, who, quite frankly, I would assume is the inventor of said door liners, to just sort of go through the product themselves and tell us why they are so necessary. And believe me, if you haven't heard of them yet, you likely will, because they are necessary. So Tim, tell us a little bit about the door liners.
Perfect. So we originally designed those for TJs because we had a number of local customers approach us and said their doors were difficult to take off, or when they got them off, the factory bushing was basically wore out, so the door would slop around, then it can sit crooked and leak. So we looked at what the factory was doing, and we're really happy with what the factory did because they made a terrible piece. It's basically a steel liner. Now you have a steel door pin in it. Obviously, it's going to rust and corrode and swell and fail. So we made those for TJ at first. They were a decent seller, and then obviously we've evolved to make them for JK, JL, and Gladiator as well. The JK ones are our best seller, being that you got 4 doors on the Jeep now, and we find a lot of people, unless you've got a family or kids and people in and out of the back doors all the time, those back doors seize up. Like, we get people call us and like, I can barely open the back door of my Jeep, and now it's summertime and I want to take that door off. So we sell this replacement bushing. It's made from Delrin, which is a DuPont branded plastic. CNC machine them in-house, and they're just a very simple product. It comes with a tool so you can knock the old one out. It's effectively a driver to pound the old factory liner out, but basically get that junk steel liner out. Our Delrin one just pushes in by thumb. You can't hammer it. You just push it right in, and now your doors will come off easy. They'll move more freely, and they'll be better aligned. So if the door was sagging before and it was leaking, it's going to fix that for you as well. So it's a super simple product. Like you said, comes in at an affordable price point, and anyone can do that in their driveway. The most difficult part of the whole installation is getting your old doors off, but once they're off, our product's a snap to install.
Okay, amazing, great. And Ryan, you mentioned that did you say you had them on the JK?
Yeah, in our retail environment, we sell a lot of Tim's products, but we've had the door liners in, I don't even know how long, like a bunch of years, probably since when did you release those door liners? I can't remember.
You probably got like one of the early JK sets for sure, as soon as you got that Jeep.
Yeah. because I've had that since 2012. So they probably went in, I don't know, whenever, maybe 13. So they've been in there for like 5, 6, 7 years. And like you said, if your doors, we've even found people with doors that don't come off and the truck's only, or Jeep's only a year old. You know what I mean? So it's, and my doors come off whenever I want them to come off. And we're not all that nice to that Jeep either. You know what I mean? Like it's dirty for a while. It gets beat up. You know, it drives all year. It spent a couple winters in the showroom, but yeah, we hammer it. So yeah, basically one time, however many years ago, we popped them in and they still work. So there it is, real deal. I can't show them today, but Jeep's at home.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, no, I'm real happy with the product. You know what I mean? Tim didn't pay me $1. I actually had to pay for my fucking liners. So so I'm not being paid to say that. Like, yeah, it's a great product for sure. And I think if anyone's having door challenges, get those off and stick those liners in right away. Or if you're lucky enough to get your doors off easy, save yourself the hassle and change those things out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what happened. I had 3 come off, no problem. The 4th one, you know, we had to use, I think we used a couple hockey sticks, and, you know, I got my kid out there trying to like hold on to it. And yeah, it was a pain in the ass. So it was like immediately, it was a no-brainer. You know, obviously we have to replace this.
Well, I've seen people like floor jack, like get a 4x4 and a floor jack under the door, and all of a sudden they're like hoping they see it move a little bit, and they give it a couple more pumps, and all of a sudden they kink the door. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's dangerous. I think if you're really having trouble with the doors and you want to save your paint on your hinges and don't want to buckle the door, just get some penetrant and just keep at it. Like, I'm talking like a couple weeks. Like, you stop at the grocery store, get the little bottle of penetrant out, spray that shit, rock the door, get a little bit of force, like hand under one on the pillar and underneath the door, and just lean up and just move it 7, 8, 10 times, and then you're gonna have to do all the doors. People are gonna think you're looking for a contact lens or something, but I'm telling you, do that on all around all the time, just as a habit, and then hopefully they'll free up. Because if you gotta torch those those door hinges, you're gonna lose that paint unless you plan on changing those out at the same time. You know what I mean? Like going to a stainless hinge, but that'd be the safest way to try. So the old wood in the door and the floor jack, gotta be real careful. And then I think penetrant and just being patient. So I would start now, because it's not going to be nice in some of the spaces for a while. You know, a couple more weeks till we get some weather. So you got some time to get those doors off and order up those liners. I don't think they'll take long, a couple days to get.
Yeah, they're ready to roll. We're getting orders out. Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, we're here. Saving lives and saving doors.
There you go. Exactly. We'll put a link in the notes below. And show notes itself on JeepBeef.com. You'll be able to pick them up there. Or, of course, TMRCustoms.com. Let's start with questions. So, you know, we're always asked about, you know, various things when it comes to the Jeep world. You know, often questions pop up. You'll see them on Facebook. Oftentimes you'll see the same questions over and over again. I don't know how many times I've seen, and, you know, this is me. I've seen... You know, what's the maximum size of tires and wheels you can put on without a lift on a JK, TJ, JL on almost a daily basis? So part of this segment, we want to work on and help our audience answer questions that they may have. And then, you know, we'll throw it up in the show notes so they can always refer back to it. And I think there's no better resource than the two of you to help answer these questions. So if you have any questions and you want, you know, answers from 2 of the top people in the industry, feel free to send them in. At the end of the show, I'll show you where to send those, or just leave comments below. So the first question we have was from Kai. Kai, I believe is how you say it. The question here is, how capable is a stock Wrangler when it comes to wheeling? You know, I'll let Tim, you start with this, and then we'll go over to Ryan, because I know, Ryan, you run the 101 series events. So I believe stock Jeeps make an appearance at those. But Tim, let's start on your opinion.
I think if you've never been off-road before, don't have any experience, a stock Jeep's going to go far further than you'd ever anticipate in terms of terrain that it could tackle and what its capabilities are. Being if you've never been out or don't have experience with it, limitation's really going to be your own skill set and your own confidence. That's why it makes sense to, if allowed, go out with a group like you're pitching, like Ryan's saying with his one-on-one weekends, and that gets someone more senior, more experienced venue to show you your Jeep can go here, because it'll go places you could never imagine. I know even Paul, we went out wheeling with yours that's relatively stockish last year, and I think you were surprised by the capabilities and where you can point a stock Jeep and where it'll go. So yeah, I think the idea of what Ryan's doing is awesome, and hopefully get you out. But yeah, in terms of a stock Jeep, it'll go a lot further than most people realize. I mean, most people want to modify them immediately for cosmetic gains more than anything when you first start out, I find. But a stock Jeep's pretty capable out of the box.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and you're right. I mean, I have more or less a stock. It's a Black Bear edition with a 3-inch lift and 35s. That's really the only thing outside of, like, I think it's got a 373 gear ratio, which is a little bit better than the stock Sport or what have you. But other than that, yeah, and you're right. It was awesome. Like, I was very impressed with how well it kept up with everyone else. So Ryan, yeah, your take.
Yeah, I think like Tim's bang on that way for sure. And I'd encourage people to go out stock first, unless you do want cosmetics. Like in our retail environment, cosmetics, it rules the world. You want to make your vehicle, onto itself to you, like kind of express you or an extension of you. So it makes sense. But if you wanted to do it for solely like trails or something like that, I would encourage you to try it out first stock, like a 101 event or a good Jeep club or a different federation or someone to join where you can go and do those things. That would be what I would do first, and then kind of figure out if you like it. Even maybe you just like driving to the beach, maybe you just like going to the mall, maybe you didn't feel good in it, but maybe you're like, hey, I really love going off-roading, so what can I do with my money to make it the most successful based on, what I've experienced, right? And then it's an evolution too, like Tim said, your skill set, right? Like my skill set is much different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, or to the first time I got to drive my Jeep after I got running, you know what I mean? So big difference. And you kind of just evolve with it. And it's kind of like it's like raising a child in the weirdest way, right? You're like, oh, cool, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to try this out, and I'm going to add this part. So it's exciting, Some people just go, hey, boom, I'm going to do it all right now. And then other people go, you know what, I'm just going to gradually go through it. And then sometimes you choose something and then it's different for you. So then you go back. So I would say, yeah, try it out. You're going to be pleasantly surprised with the vehicle off-road bone stock. And there are some things, if you're thinking about buying a Jeep and you're thinking about, I really would like off-road, there's some things you can do if you're going for new or used. You can email into us here, and we can give you some tips. Like the 373 is a good move. You know what I mean? If you think you're going to put a bigger tire on it. Obviously, if you're really going off-road and you got the extra change, you're going to want to go like a Rubicon. You want that 4-to-1 case in the 410 gear if you can, and those lockers. You know what I mean? If you can get that out of the box, and then there's those other things. If you already know, hey, I'm just going to build this crazy machine, then you probably want to get a base machine. We'll hack out all that stuff and throw in some 1-tons and some fancy steering, and it's such a loaded question, right?
Sure.
But yeah, it's case by case, and everyone's a little different. And then like you change. Sometimes you don't know what you want until you've already experienced it, right? We get customers like that, and they're like, "Oh, I wish I would have went here first." I said, "Well, we give you recommendations, but you didn't know until you experienced it. So it's just a rite of passage at that point. You're just getting into it, and it's a hobby, right? So that's what it is. You spend money on a hobby, and you learn about you and your things and yourself. So
yeah, no, that's great. Actually, keeping in that same frame of thought, JeepBeef here, we've just bought a Rubicon.
Cool.
So we're still in the process because they're impossible to find. Believe it or not, like you can't find any.
Wow.
So unless you want a black one, which is fine, but we were.
Hey, racist about it.
No. No, but we typically have silver, or with I think what we're trying to find is like just more of a matte color, make it a little bit different, a little bit standoutish, if you will. I think keep with the overall theme. But at the end of the day, that's not. I mean, you really don't care about the color, right? It comes down to making the decision between what you're going to do with it and what you want to buy stock, right? So we opted to go with the Rubicon for exactly that, for the lockers, the sway bar disconnects, the 410 gear ratio, and so that we can use it, and we have some awesome steering kit from TMR, an aluminum steering kit that we're gonna throw in there. We've got a couple of other people have submitted some products and what have you that they want us to test on the JL. So, but with that being said, one question that we struggled with, and I'd be interested to hear both of your takes, is the 4-cylinder versus the 6-cylinder, and we still haven't made up that mind. I'm personally leaning actually towards the 4-cylinder, which I wasn't before, but after doing some research, I from what I've heard, the 4-cylinder seems to be pretty awesome. But I'd love to get your opinion on that. Ryan, let's go back to you, and then we'll switch over to Tim.
Yeah, well, you got so the V6, the 3.6 is actually a different monster than the JK 3.6. So even though it sounds like it's the same motor and it's tried, tested, and such, it's actually a bit of a variation to the original 3.6. But I'm a big power adder guy, you know what I mean? So I like the idea of the 4-cylinder turbo, and I like the idea of being able to modify it, you know what I mean? And I heard a few things about it where, it's had some challenges, but you're going to get that with mass production anyways, right? Like 2 or 3 people get upset because something happened, and then all of a sudden it condemns 2 or 3 million vehicles, right? So I have the 3.6 in our JL, but the turbo wasn't it when we bought that one. So I think I would lean towards the turbo, right? You can change it, up the boost, mess with it a bit. I'm sure people will be doing all that, and maybe get a sweet blow off valve.
Nice.
Bring back the fury.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. All right, Tim. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely a loaded question. If you're trying to do research online, a lot of people with the turbo seem extremely happy with it. Vice versa, most people with the V6 are happy with it too. But I think what's important when looking for that feedback is people that actually own them, because you're going to get a lot of V6 people just pile onto that 4-cylinder and say it's no good, there's reliability issues, it's new. So I think you're, like anything when you're doing research, you really got to vet the source. And to me, unless they have experience with both, like how valuable really is your feedback. But in reading about it, it seems like a lot of people that own both or went from the V6 to the 4-cylinder, it seems like a lot of people like that turbo motor, especially for street use. A lot of people say it's got better jam, it's more fun to drive, and obviously it's seeing greater mileage. But I guess you just really got to look at how long you're going to have the Jeep for and what your ultimate goals are. To me, I think the conservative approach would be the V6 because it's been around a little longer and it's a more proven platform. But for people that own both, from what I hear from seat of the pants feel, that turbo motor is a lot of fun.
Okay, awesome. I love it. Okay, so no actual consensus. I love it.
That's what discussions are, right? You never really get it.
No, that's it exactly. And that's exactly it, because it's a pros and cons thing, right? It's like what's better on the trails, what's going to be. I'll tell you this right now, though, I haven't had anything but a manual since I don't know, for 20 years, I would say. But actually, after talking to Tim last time, I think I am actually considering a manual an automatic. And just because, I've got a family and stuff like that as well. But you can't get the turbo in a manual. And for off-roading and what have you, we're all over taking it out to Moab and seeing what we can do out there, and hitting some pretty gnarly things, or taking it to different shows and what have you. And I just watch people going up that like rock face, and all I think about is if I'm in manual, and you're halfway up that 40-degree angle. Yeah,
That's just it's all skill set, man.
That's
you
it.
Know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
You just I mean, here nor there. I mean, we ordered the manual JL Rubicon, and then I've seen on the internet a lot of like housings blowing to pieces and all this stuff. So it's super cool because I cut my truck to pieces, so I'm stuck with it no matter what.
Right.
So if I put that thing out, but it's just learning how to drive off-road, period, and then learning how to drive on your vehicle. So if you learn how to drive on a manual, you're going to improve on the manual. If you learn how to drive on the auto, you're going to improve on the auto. So it just depends on you if you want to bang through gears through town or not. You know what I mean? Like off-road is not too bad. If you're just going to go up something, you just pick one gear and go. And if you're in low range and if you need a little more wheel speed through something or whatever, you can launch in second gear or even third gear. And like you're just good. You just get off the clutch. It's not too bad. It's all practice.
Yeah, fair enough. No, that makes a lot of sense.
I would worry about it. If you're more comfortable, you think, going off road with an auto, and just having the kids in the car and people messing around all the time, just do auto.
Yeah.
No shame in the auto.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
yeah, if you feel like hammering out some gears, I mean, I think the auto is more responsive, you know what I mean, than the manual. They're not race car trainees by any stretch. So I did like the JL trainee when it was new. It was super smooth, but I find I got, I don't know, I think maybe about 50,000 kilometers on that motor and tranny, and the clutch is a little weird, like it's a little spongy. We didn't really do much to it. Like I never really beat it up. Like it was in the mud in Georgia a bunch, but really not. I didn't submerge it or anything, and I'm pretty reasonably experienced, driving vehicles. Period. So I mean, I never double clutched it or in clutched it in water or anything like that. And I find there's a few characteristics with the manual that's challenging with that particular model. I haven't blown it up yet, and so we'll see. I mean, that can be a future how I fuck that shit right up.
Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so this one's, again, a load of questions, super subjective, but I think that just some guidance in the right direction will really help this person. This person came in without a name. This question came in without a name. But
how we can know if we help them?
Well, whoever sent this question, just leave a comment below, and we'll let you.
We can watch if I'm gonna strain my brain to answer for them.
Yeah. Okay, so the question is, can I purchase a reliable Wrangler for under $6,000? And if so, what should I be looking for when I shop? Tim, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I would say yeah. In the United States, outside of the Salt Belt, yeah, you could find something. Definitely, I'd be looking for 600 TJ 4-liter. Even if it's got high kilometers, those motors last forever. They're probably the most durable motor Jeep's ever put in anything. So yeah, I feel if you can find, it's going to be TJ for sure. I feel Southern U.S., yeah, no problem. If we want to start talking about getting into the Northeast and the Rust Belt, anywhere where they use salt or brine on the road, or anywhere in Canada, in my opinion, that's pretty tight on budget to get something reliable. You could get yourself a toy for that money, have something to bang around town in the summer, hit some trails. You could get your fun money out of that quite easily. But if we're talking $6,000 your budget for daily driver, if it's something that's seen a lot of salt and rust and corrosion, just because of the age of it, I don't think reliability is going to be at the forefront of that vehicle's strengths.
Okay, fair enough. Ryan.
Yeah, I think Tim's right. I mean, but if he does go even more south, and then, you can probably find a YJ if you like the square headlight look, or a CJ. Like if you're looking for like a nostalgic kind of vehicle, you can probably, twist somebody's arm and get into one of those. But like Tim was saying, you want to find something if you're in those areas like Arizona and, even like inland Florida, or, I'm talking about where there's no salt or no nonsense, then you're good. But anywhere, Michigan, anywhere you get salt and snow and stuff, you're going to have a challenge. And there's little things to look for, you know what I mean? Like frame rotting sections. Like everyone has telltale signs, I think you'll never find a YJ there that's worth that kind of money, period. Like someone's going to want like $15,000 and and it'll be in a little box or something. But yeah, you do TJ. And if you've never been in a Jeep, you probably don't want a YJ, unless you like riding in the horse and wagon. I stay away from them, but yeah, the TJs are great. 4-link coils, you know what I mean? We got a few of them here. Like my wife's TJ, she's had since like 2005, and then we build a team TJ just for the guys that work here that don't have Jeeps and 4-wheel drives. They want to come out 4-wheeling. So I actually drove this morning, just get it rolling, and yeah, it's a good little beast. But geez, I want about 12 G's if I gotta sell that one. So double your money on that one.
Okay.
But
good to know.
yeah, no, for sure.
All right. Okay. That wraps it up for, I think, this week. Any more questions? Obviously, the Jeep community has tons of them. And like I say, we have 2 really great resources here with both Tim and Ryan. So leave a comment below. And any questions that we see that the 2 gentlemen here can answer, we'll scoop them up and throw them into another episode. Alternatively, feel free to send an email to podcasts@jeepbeef.com. And we'll make sure it gets to the right people. And like I say, in a follow-up episode, we will answer those. Great. Hey, you're still here. You stuck around. Wow, thank you so much. I hope you learned something. If you did, smash the like button below. Give us a subscribe. Make sure that you're staying up to date when we launch new shows. Should be every week. Feel free to visit us at JeepBeef.com and throw in your name in the newsletter, and we'll make sure that whenever there is a new show, whether ours or somebody else's, you'll get a notification. And yeah, hey, I really appreciate it. Episode 1 in the books. We are done. Have an awesome day. Awesome. Take care.